Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, hello.
Oh, that's you. I know it's always like a surprise, like,
A little surprise.
whoa.
Why am I so big?
hmm Yeah. Let's see. Can I add spotlight too? So the two of
Oh,
us.
there we are.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. People coming in. So great to see everybody hopping in on the Zoom.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Yay. Well, we are
Everyone, did
at
everyone bring their
5:03.
socks? I hope.
Oh, yeah. Good, good. Yes.
Very good.
Good, good, good. So we're at 5:03, and I want to honor everybody's time tonight. But I'm Iris from Cashmere Goat, and I'm super excited to have our special guest for this finale, special finale of Socktober. Um, and this is Denise DeSantis joining us. Yay!
Hello.
Denise
Hello.
is
Hello.
yay. So Denise is at Earth Tones Girl, and I'm going to give just a little brief intro, and we're going to right into it.
Sure.
I'm going to be doing kind of admin and watching the chat on the side for questions. If folks could mute themselves, just so we sort of make sure that we've got background is minimal background conflicting background, right? Noise. Um, but hope everybody has their knitting with you. If you have questions as we're going, like I said, pop them in the chat. I'm guessing that we'll probably just get a little bit nerdy, get into some cool stuff about Denise and her amazing new book that you all have heard me chatting about a lot. This October, we have 15 more copies on the way coming to the GOAT because we were out of them again. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to say Denise is amazing. And I've been like following you on the social
Thank
media
you. Thank
this
you.
year. Like with our Socktober, I always like to link to some beginner friendly resources. And Denise came across after the book, found your incredible free YouTube in depth, I mean, step by step. And I love how you say, like, sometimes people tell me these videos are really long, and then I tell
Mhm.
them maybe they're just not for you. Because if they
Right.
seem
I can be very chatty, and that doesn't work for some people, but that's okay. There's more options out there.
but it was super good because I dipped into a couple of the videos specific to the shadow wrap heel, which I'd never done, but was inspired to try from the book. And there I was, we're just right there with you as you were showing me what you were doing. It was fantastic.
That's
So
great. That's so great. And I always tell people that's not my heel. I did not create that. That was Alice Yu. And I don't know if she created shadow wrap short rows. I don't know if she was the first person to apply them to a sock heel. That I don't know, but doesn't matter. It's everybody, it's out there now. So yay. Definitely out there now.
I was one of the other things too. So just looking at the bio and everything. So you've been like knitting for over 25 years or sock knitting?
I've been knitting since oh gosh, 99. I've been knitting, and I started, strangely enough, I started when I was in massage school. So,
Hmm.
massage therapy school, but I had crocheted since I was 8. And so I've done fiber. My mom sews, so I was always at her elbow, learning to sew and learning different things. And so fiber and making in general has just been my life, my whole life. My grandfather was a carpenter, so I've never been not making something. And it started, like I said, when I was 8 years old with crochet, and I still have Maggie Righetti, for those of you who may remember her. I have Maggie Righetti's book from, I think, Crochet Made Easy from a gajillion years ago. And I used to shop in Woolworth. Yes, that's how old I am. That is how old I am. I would get off the bus from school and go down to the craft department and get my skein. I knew nothing about dye lots at the time. It just same number, so I bought it home. I still have the blanket that I made. And then in 99, I started massage school. I worked in Midtown, and a friend of mine, we were going to school together. We would walk. That would be our exercise every evening, to walk down to school. So we were in the 50s and we'd walk down to the 20s. Um, and it was fall, and I always saw people in J. Crew sweaters. And you know that classic roll neck, roll hem J. Crew sweater, and I wanted to make one of those so badly. And I got a CD-ROM ugh, for Christmas, and I learned, and then I found a shop on the Upper West Side, and here I am, X number of years
Awesome.
later.
So, learning to knit in the age before the YouTube, we were using the books. I see some
Right.
nods out there.
Yes. Yes. It was trying to get a one-dimensional image to suddenly become a three-dimensional thing, a garment that you could actually wear, and understanding transfer the stitches on the far end of the left needle. Woohoo, what does that mean? I don't even understand what that means, but I have to say the first book I ever bought regarding knitting was Knitting Without Tears by Elizabeth Zimmerman. Thank goodness that was my first book, because it set my feet on the path to there's nothing to fear. There's really nothing to be afraid of, nothing to worry about. If you want to create something, you get a pen, a piece of paper, and a tape measure and figure it out. And that's how I learned to knit. I mean, my copy is practically falling apart from underlining and flagging and post-it notes. And that's how I learned. And then my first sock knitting book was Sock Soar on Two Circular Needles by Kat Bordy. And again, understanding that instruction on how to rearrange your stitches was, oh, my head hurt trying to figure it out. But I figured it out, and I've been in love with it ever since. There's Knitting is not really a hobby. It's a whole, it sounds so corny and cliche, but it really is a part of my life. I don't even go to the grocery store for a carton of milk without a knitting bag with me, because what if the car breaks down? What am I going to do? Supposed to just sit there and wait for help? I have to knit something. So that's how I got here. And I worked in a yarn shop in Tarrytown for a couple of years as well, and everyone was just so, whether it was sock knitting or knitting in general, they were just so afraid of knitting and afraid of making a mistake, and, well, how do I fix it? And they would come in like truly in a panic, and I'm just thinking, okay, knitting is the one thing in life that you can rip out and do again. Or
I
make
say this all the time
Right. It's not
in
even like
Cashmere Co.
sewing. Right. If you
Yeah.
cut the fabric wrong, you're done. You're back to the fabric store. But with knitting, you just rip it out and do it again. So I never got my head around that fear, but I wanted to help alleviate the fear.
Mhm.
So that's what prompted and was the force behind creating the YouTube channel. And then that translated then to the book. And here.
Um, I love that it's the taking the fear out of knitting, and I use that same exact metaphor of like, this is different even than sewing or carpentry. You make the wrong cut, too bad,
Too bad.
but we get that ability, unlike in many places else in our whole lives, to just do a complete do-over if it's not how
Yes,
we want it.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
wanted to give a special shout out to Becca. Becca is one of our local goats because Becca was the one that put us onto this. Like, I think Kristen, the owner of Cashmere Goat, had this also on her radar too. But Becca was like, "Are you guys getting this book? This book looks like it's going to be
Thank
amazing.
you,
I think
Becca.
I'm going
Is she here?
to." I don't think she's here
She didn't
yet.
make it. That's okay. That's okay.
Hopefully she'll get in a little bit before the end, but one of the things she wanted me to make sure to say to you is she loves this book and she's been reading it like a book. So unlike any other knitting book she said she's had, where you pick it up, you flip to the part that you want here or there, she's like, I'm reading this cover to cover, and she wanted me to especially say too, and I agree with this, love the way this book is really organized, like you've got that, your writing, your writing voice is great, very accessible, but also just that, like, socks can be freeing, this mix and match idea, it's a recipe, and the way that you offer like oh, and if you would like to do this toe up, here's the way you could do it toe up. It's
Right,
so cool.
right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I grew up in a West Indian household, and when the aunts get together to cook and you say, "Well, how much of whatever do you put in the sauce?" and they just go like that. You know, like no one has a measurement. No one tells you, like, you put in a teaspoon of this and a quarter cup of that. There's none of that. You look at a recipe and you think, okay, I've got the idea now, put the book away, and then you start to cook. So
Mhm.
I wanted knitting to be the same way. You're not locked into a pattern. And it's interesting when I first started knitting and I saw people coming in like two, three, four people all knitting the same thing. I would think, nope, I don't want to do that. I want my knitting to always look like me, not like what
Mhm.
everybody else is doing. And that carried over to socks. There's no reason why you purchase a pattern and you don't like the cuff. Change it. You don't like the heel. Change it. If you want to add a contrasting color, but that's not in the pattern, okay, let's learn how to do that. So
Totally.
you're never locked in. And I think that's being so rigid in the rules is a hindrance rather than a help. So I just wanted to help free people. And I wanted the book to feel like I gave you my knitting notes. Like I gave you my journal. I mean, even down to the cover, the way the cover was designed, I wanted you to feel like you were sitting across from me and we're hanging out together. Here's my journal with all my secrets. Okay, go. You can knit too, make the socks that you want.
Love that. So good. Do you have a one of my questions, because I'm always thinking about the beginner.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite beginner sock pattern that you like to get folks started with, like, or a favorite heel that you feel like is a more accessible way to open that up?
That's that's a hard question to answer. And of course, I'm going to be biased and say that my beginner sock pattern is a great place to start.
Mhm.
I think starting with as simple as possible. You don't need to knit a very long leg. The point is to understand how all of the moving parts work in a sock. So you don't have to commit to this very long leg. You don't have to knit a knee high right out of the gate. So understand how to cast on so that it's loose enough to fit over your foot, depending on which direction you're going in, or learn your toe up. Which toe up pattern or style do you prefer? Do you want a rounded toe? So it's about understanding all of the parts in its simplest form. And I thought that a shorty sock was the best way to go. You're knitting a sock, but it doesn't feel like a giant commitment, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
And so
know?
is the pattern, like, would you say the DK one, the like DK shorty sock is a good one?
Sure, that's actually a
Yeah.
great place to start. The DK Shorty
Hmm.
is great because you also get results a lot quicker because your yarn and needles are bigger. So you do see the results. It's also sometimes easier. I can't go anywhere without my readers, so it's also easier to see your stitches in slightly larger yarn. That's also a really big help. And I prefer in terms of heels. I don't want to use the word traditional. The most commonly used heel would be a heel flap and gusset. It's a great place to start. To me, it's rip the
Hmm.
band-aid off, learn how to pick up your stitches right out of the gate. Okay, that's if you're going top down. If you're knitting toe up, there's a lot less, whether you're doing a short row heel or a heel flap and gusset, you're not picking stitches up. So that's one of the
Hmm.
reasons, that's another pro to people knitting toe up. So I don't like to tell people this is the best heel for a beginner because I don't want to turn people off.
Hmm.
Just
Hmm.
try it. And if you don't like it, you never have to do it again. You never have to do it again. I was also a doula in my past life. That's a labor support. So I attended women during labor. And after every contraction, like, oh my God, that was absolutely horrible. I'm like, guess what? You never have to do that contraction again. You're going to have another one, but you never have to do that one again. So it helps you get to the next. So maybe that will be a little easier. So if you don't like your first sock, no time knitting is ever wasted. You've learned what you don't like,
Hmm.
or you've learned that I like A and B, but I don't like C and maybe E. So let's get rid of that and go on to something else. So, question in the chat.
Mhm.
What heel do you recommend for easily adjusting for a higher instep? And what does she think of the strong heel where the gusset is on the side? Okay. So,
Getting nerdy right out of the gate.
right. Okay, let's enough with the chat. Let's just get to the heart. Let's get to the good stuff. So, a higher instep. So did I bring the sock? Oh, darn it. Please tell me I have it with me. Please, please, please. Just bear with me a second. Let me see if it's
Oh,
in the
sure.
bag. All right, I'm just going to dump this on the floor. Hang on. The fastest way to find it. Haha. Okay, I found it. Okay. So this heel, so a heel flap and gusset. Is this one? Yes. Okay. So you have your heel flap and gusset. Okay. Don't mind my ends hanging out here. We'll tuck those back in. It's like my slip is showing. Tuck those in. Hang on. So here is your standard heel flap and gusset. The goal for someone with a higher arch, you want the distance between the instep, which is the top of your foot, and the back, a lower back edge of your heel. This diagonal, you want that diagonal to be as deep as possible to accommodate a high arch. Okay. And there is a difference, which I've learned, there is a difference between a high instep and a high arch. So the arch being the bottom of your foot as opposed to the instep, which is the top of your foot. So you may not need the adjustment. And sometimes if someone may be using terminology that's not wrong, but they're applying maybe the wrong word to something, they may still be getting a bad fit because they need to just pick the right word so someone can help them. So anyway, this distance from here to here is your main concern with a high instep. So you want that to be as deep as possible. Okay. A heel flap and gusset has, in theory, the deepest angle. So this should fit your most feet. There are no good feet, bad feet. Everyone's feet are unique. So what may work for you, and even left to right, that's another thing to even factor in. Like your left foot may be slightly larger or smaller. So anyway, a heel flap and gusset, the standard or the more traditional, the more commonly used, tends to fit relatively well for many feet. Okay. Now, if you don't like a heel flap and gusset, well, now what do? You like a short row heel. That's where this beauty comes in. So bear with me one moment because it'll be easier.
Can I just ask a little follow-up while you're doing
Of
that?
course.
So I have a high instep, and one of the things that I typically do is like make my heel flap a little taller.
Yes. Yes.
And then I just end up decreasing, there are more decreases involved and to get me back down to the number that I need.
Exactly. You beat me to it. But yes, that is absolutely what you can do. And again, that's where not being or not feeling like you're locked into what the pattern says is very important. So if the pattern, usually a heel flap, just the flap of the heel is as wide as it is tall. So if you've got 32 stitches, you want to do 32 rows. But as Iris just said, if you do have a higher instep, you need a little bit more room. So it's okay to go 34, 36, maybe even as much as 40, as long as you remember, excuse me, what you've done sock to sock, make your notes, and you're just decreasing a little bit more. Okay. So if you're decreasing, my voice is giving out. As you're coming down the foot, this line of decrease stitches right here, this line of decrease is just going to extend a little bit more, which is giving you that extra room over the instep. Okay. But now if you wanted to do a short row heel, I see the other question. I'll get to that in one sec. This gorgeous beauty here, this is a new pattern by Isolde Teague. And she has a full gusset, which extends from here to about here, along with the short row heel. Okay, and it's very unique. You're using short rows, the shadow wrap short rows, but in a very unique way. So there's no triple stitches. She's building stitches out of like a mother-daughter stitch, for those of you who may know what that mother-daughter stitch means. It's so brilliant. And I can't believe how much more room is in here. Now, there's a hybrid, which is, let me see if there's a hybrid to those two, which is this. And I just happen to have done this. And I don't know why, maybe in anticipation. So this heel has a mini heel flap right here. And it's dark yarn. So unfortunately it's hard to see, but it has a mini heel flap right in here. And then I do the short row heel. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I want to
Yeah, okay,
make it
there we
bigger.
go.
Yep.
There we go. You can
Yep.
see it that way. So
Uh-huh.
I only did about the heel flap is only 4 slip stitches, so that's 8 rows high. Then I worked the short row heel, picked up my stitches, and then continued. So it has a mini, right in here, it has a mini gusset. For my foot, that gives me just enough depth from the top running right down to the back of the heel.
That
Okay.
is really, really, really
You may
cool.
not need as much as this, which is a full gusset. This sort of in between may also work. Now, what happens sometimes? I get this question all the time. I have a high instep. What's the best sock? What's the best heel for my feet? I can't answer that. It's really and truly, if I tried to answer that, I think I would be doing a disservice. So I think it's about experimenting, and that's why I say that no time knitting is ever wasted. It's finding that heel that works right for you and finding the right depth of the heel flap or number of decrease stitches, etc. The hybrid.
Can I just like ask a quick follow-up because with the shadow wrap short row,
Mhm.
and you were showing that hybrid that we were just seeing, another question somebody emailed me was, can you modify a shadow wrap heel for a higher instep? So that sort of feels like what we just saw.
Yes, that's what.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear, excuse me. So it's not called a hybrid heel. I use
Okay.
that because I was talking about the difference between a full heel flap and gusset and the in between. That is a mini heel flap adjustment when you're just doing the small heel flap. Okay, and that pattern was originally written by Mina Phillip, who's the knitting expat, in her vanilla sock recipe. Okay. Do you want me to type that into the chat? Would that help?
Yes, I will make notes and then add them to our little
Sure. So my
description for the
screen may
video.
bounce a little bit, so just bear with me a moment. So it's the mini heel flap adjustment in the vanilla sock recipe pattern by Mina Phillip. Knitting. Hold the knitting expat.
And do you happen to know the Isolde pattern off I can look it up,
It's
but
the deep shadow. Hold on. It
mm,
is. So I think she just released, she has it in her Knitworthy collection, Knitworthy 8, which is the new
mhm.
collection. But I think it's also a freestanding pattern, but it's the deep shadow heel by Isolde Teague.
Cool.
Whoops. Uh-oh. Hold on. Gue. Okay. Okay. So my computer's on a
Okay.
stand a little just to give it a little height. That's why I'm bouncing so much. So I apologize. I apologize for the movement there. Okay. Now, going back to what style works well for narrow flat feet. That boils down to almost, I don't want to, it's a custom sock then for your feet. If your feet are really narrow, and let's say the smallest size in an adult pattern is 56 stitches, that still may be too many for you. You may want to go down to 54, 52. It's then being able to adjust the numbers. It's okay to go down in the number of stitches. You just then have to accommodate for the difference in numbers with the heel. All right. And it's having that formula. Those formulas or the math for that is also in my book, whether you're going top
Love that.
to toe up. Okay. So it's not so much with a flat foot. you don't really have to worry so much because you don't need height. The sock will fit. You just need less stitches to hug the foot better. Does that
Mhm.
answer your question, Alyssa? Elissa? I can't see everyone,
Yeah.
so okay.
Looks like
Yeah,
she's
I
maybe
don't have a
typing
gallery
something.
view, so I can't see. Yes, okay,
Yep.
you're very
Yeah.
welcome. Okay, good. Good, good, good. So the hybrid heel, I can see where that will add some room. Yes, it definitely adds room. And sometimes you don't need a tremendous amount of room. This fit really, really well. I tried this on my own feet and it fit beautifully, but there's times where I may not need this much depth.
Mm.
This
Hmm.
this heel working, this is also, I like to kind of go quickly. That's just my own little personal thing. I like to move through my socks a little bit faster. I have to think a little bit more with this heel. Doesn't mean it's hard. It just means I have to go a little bit slower because I'm thinking it through because it's new. Not hard, it's just new.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's not my expression. That is Gigi made it, who that's hers. It's not hard, it's just new. So this in between for me, the mini heel flap, just doing those extra 8 rows, that works perfectly for my feet.
Hmm.
Okay. That works
Perfect.
great. Um, did I answer the other? Oh, okay, Denise, thank you for explaining.
Yes.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So that template is that was the genius of Kat Bordy. I had the absolute exquisite, delightful pleasure and privilege of taking a class with her. And wow, just genius the way this woman's mind works. And she can almost seem sort of otherworldly because you know she's just having a thought. Like when someone asks a question, she'll just pause and think about it for a minute. And you're like, okay, did she hear me? Or what's going on? You're like, she's thinking about it. And then outpour the words come out of her mouth, and you're like, what? It's like angels singing. It's like absolute magic, the things that she comes up with. And I took a class with her, and she had everybody bring a cereal box with us. And I grabbed my Cocoa Puffs and I went down to class, tucked it in my bag, and it's the perfect thickness, like the material that you're using, it really doesn't matter, but it really is a great having that template for your feet for me was a game changer. And it can be used toe up or top down. Okay.
In mine, because I really like maybe I'll show you this. So I love a anatomical toe
Oh,
and
yes, yes,
used
yes.
your anatomical toe directions in recipe from there.
Yay.
But so onto my foot template, I added this line for my anatomical toe to
Love
be
it.
that's my beginning part. So
Oh, that's
yes,
great. That's
I
so
love
great.
it.
But see, that's taking the information that's in there and making it work for you. So
Hmm.
maybe I didn't put that on the template, but you did it on your own, which is, I really want to encourage that you're not locked in because I didn't necessarily, the book is only so big. There's only so many pages, it's only so big. So there's so much information that's not in there. It may be on YouTube, maybe I didn't share it. There's lots of, or shared it yet, but there's still so many things that you can do as you just demonstrated. Just make it work for you. You're not locked
And
in.
maybe there's more books in the future from you.
Wink. I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see. The powers that be are yet to decide, so we'll see what happens.
Well, I think it'd be awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see. So any
Well,
other
does
questions? Fire away. You've got me here. Fire away. I will share the most, I want to say complicated because that's not the right word, but the most detailed heel that I've ever knit was called a step up heel. And again, another reason I love a shorty sock, I'm gonna cover the heel for a minute. Another reason I love a shorty sock is because I can work my cuff, work a short leg, and jump right into the good part, which
Mhm.
heel. I don't care about all the rest of it. I want to get to the heel. So this heel is called a step up heel, and it had. Oh, let's go this way. You'd think after doing zooms for a while that I'd get the left right straight. This has a double gusset. So you
Whoa.
start, yeah, yeah. You start here and then you're picking up stitches. You're working a heel turn, but then you pick up stitches again to work in here. And this particular pattern is by Lara Neal. And Lara Neal, her book is Sock Architecture, and it's so genius. Is anyone familiar with the Weldon's books or the Weldon series? So Weldon's was, I believe, a magazine way back, maybe early 1900s, and the patterns were written in a way of, okay, here's your yarn, here's your needle, here's a picture of the sock. You kind of want it to look like this. Okay, go figure it out. There wasn't much in the way of direction, or the directions were very cryptic. So Lara Neal took a lot of the patterns from Weldon's and deconstructed them and then reconstructed them for the average person to be able to understand. And this is one from Weldon's that she deconstructed. And it was just, I can't even imagine doing it the way Weldon suggested, because I've seen those instructions. This makes no sense. But Lara Neal explores a lot of different heels that are not normally or commonly seen in
Mm.
patterns. And I love my book. I'm very proud of my book, but my book doesn't have everything. And my goal is sharing knowledge and information. And there's so much out there. There's so much out there to the point people don't even know where to begin because it's so overwhelming. And I have been, sorry, studying this for a while. So the more information I can share with people, the better. So that's a really great book. It is, I wouldn't say it's for beginners because it's a lot of math, it's a lot of detail. It can,
Mm.
I don't, I, it's, some people may think of it as watching paint dry, but like, why would I just want a book on heels? And she also has toes, but it's so fascinating. There's
Mhm.
so many different ways to pick up and cast. It's just, I find it completely fascinating. So that's a really great book also.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't until tracing my foot for my foot template that I was like, oh, wow, I think I have kind of a narrow heel. Like, I don't know, never looked at my heel really before. And that explains some things about different sock heels and why they fit me or don't.
Right, right. Oh yeah. My feet grew. I knit a pair of socks while I was pregnant with my first child, and so excited, very, I think it was a cookie A pattern, super detailed, lots of lace, twisted stitches. It was amazing when I could concentrate and read complicated charts before my children were born. And I was so proud, I was so excited. And I remember not being able to try them on because I couldn't reach my feet, which can happen when you're pregnant sometimes. So I waited until my daughter was born and I was so excited to put my socks on in the hospital and they didn't fit because my feet grew. Wah, wah. So, but there's such a treasure and I love the story that's attached to those socks. So again, never time wasted because I thoroughly enjoyed knitting them. It's just unfortunately they can fit in her. They don't even fit her because her feet are too long. So they're just there.
They're just
As a
there,
reminder.
a memento of a special time.
Exactly. So never time wasted.
So I just am out of curiosity, so like, are you the kind of person that's just like you're always looking for more information, right? And so as patterns like Isolde's new one or whatever come out, are you just like you're hopping right in just to see what you can find? Yep.
I mean, I literally hold my nose and jump right into the pool because I want to. I'm a student. I will be a forever student.
Mm,
I am
nice.
happiest learning something new. I
Hmm.
get very excited. And once I can do it without having to read or reference anything, once it's locked in, I'm like, okay, that's in the memory bank. Let's go on to the next. What else can I
Hmm.
learn? I watched Lavagna Petrocelli. She does brioche. She's a co-author, a fellow author with the same publisher, and her book, which is all about brioche knitting, she did a technique the other day I'd never seen before on Instagram. She just demoed it, and I thought, ooh, I jumped into her comments immediately. I was like, Lavanya, can we add that to a sock? she's she's like, shoot, yeah, we'll talk about that later. Here you are with your socks again. There's no technique that is out in the making world that cannot be put into a sock.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that can't be put into a sock. So I've done fisherman sweaters, like traditional fisherman sweaters with the Guernsey sweaters, Guernsey patterns. You can put all of that into a sock. All of it, different cables, practice cabling without a cable needle. Now that might be
Mm-hmm.
terrifying because it's such a small surface, but you can do it. If you've never steeked a sweater, do you really want to steek a giant, beautiful sweater as your first shot out of the gate? Some people are brave and want to do that, but you can do an afterthought heel and just cut the heel. Okay, is everybody still, nobody passed out when I said that? Okay, good. Okay. Good. Everybody's still with me. Okay, good. But you can practice because again, it's such a small canvas. I mean, this sock weighs what? I think I've weighed, this is maybe 30, 35, not even as much as 40 grams. So that is all the yarn that you would have said, okay, you know what? Maybe I can't rip that out and use it again. But you learned how to cut in an afterthought heel. Never
Mm-hmm.
wasted. Never wasted. Question, does your book show how to pick up stitches? Yes, it does. And number two, can your book be used for... Okay. Hmm. So the second question is, can your book be used for a left-handed mirror knitter? Now, are you saying like, are you a true lefty? Who is this? Alyssa? Are you a true lefty, meaning you knit? So people knit right to left. Do you knit left to right?
Julie, you could unmute yourself if
You
you want
just
to
jump
just
right in.
answer
You
that.
don't have to
Yeah.
type it.
Yes. I'm inside a sweater going around with you all going in the other direction. I'm inside the sock going around.
In
So
the yeah.
normally I only slip stitch knit, I knit two together. That's the only change I usually have to make.
Okay. So the book doesn't address that again because of limited space.
Hmm.
But there are tutorials online. I have a friend, Ellen, who is knit, her handle or her name is Knit by a Lefty, and she is a true left to right knitter. Um, and she's been trying to teach me so that I can help. I learned continental. I'm a right-handed thrower, but I learned continental in order to help people. And so my new thing to learn is how truly to knit left to right so that I can help people and produce a video and be able to help. So the answer to the
All right.
question technically is no, but there is help out there.
And I'm used to adapting, so I'll probably figure it out.
But what did you have a question in particular that I can help you figure out?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
No. I'm just wondering before I jump in and get yet another book.
I understand.
You
I
know?
definitely understand. I do. I get
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. So Alyssa says that's precisely why I'm excited about making socks. Yes, it socks are endless canvas and endless possibilities. There's no limit. There's really no limit. I mean, I even learned a new left-leaning decrease that perfectly mirrors a knit front and back. Because if you knit a front and back, that extra stitch is always on the right side, which my very organized brain can't handle because there's no symmetry then on the other side, and that
Right.
makes me insane. So I dug and dug and dug until I found it, and that's in one more book for you. That's in this beauty, which is this. So this to me is sort of the reference book. It's my main reference book. This is The Principles of Knitting by June Hemmons Hyatt. And as you can see, it is very big. The print in this book is very small. So there is here, for example, it's very, very small. So there's so much information in here. I forget how many different cast-ons are in this book alone. Just getting the stitches on the needle.
Wow.
We haven't even started knitting yet. And it doesn't apply just to socks, it's knitting in general. So just getting the stitches on the needle, endless possibilities. It just depends on how detailed you want to be. Now, is anyone going to get that close to your foot? Maybe, maybe not. But again, is it something if you want to try something new, would you like to try it over 64 stitches or over 300? Example, a bottom up sweater that you're working on. So it's nice to play.
Love that. The playfulness really comes out in the book too,
Yay!
and your encouragement to try stuff. Um,
That's my goal.
let's see, what else? Any other folks who want to either ask a question or maybe talk about a chat that has been, like some sort of something about socks that just hasn't ever made sense? Now's your chance to talk to a true expert.
Thank you, Ruth. Ruth has to go, but thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for
Yeah.
being here. Oh, lovely. So what else can I share about sock knitting? For example, let's look at this sock. Let's take a peek at this one. And again, feel free to just, no, not this one. Feel free to unmute yourself and just jump right in.
Mhm.
I'll talk about this and then I've got one other thing. So this sock was an experiment. Again, shorty sock. I have two pairs that are too long in the foot after washing and machine drying. Any thoughts? You may not like my suggestion, Ginny. Should I throw it out there? You can, is it top down or toe up?
Sorry, I was looking for the
But
unmuting.
that's okay. That's
Um,
okay.
They may even be one of each.
Okay.
Definitely one is toe up.
So if it's toe up, that's relatively easy. You can just unpick. Well, then again, you can't for toe up. If it's top down, you can unpick the toe. And oh, we can totally talk about yarn. Oh, yes, let's talk about yarn. Okay, I'll get there in a sec. Okay, we're off to the races. Woo! So if you're knitting top down,
Mm,
unpick the toe and remove the number of rounds that you need in order to get
shorten it.
the length that you want. Okay, it's a little bit harder going in the other direction. If you're toe up, you then there's much, much, much more to rip out. However, you can do something similar to an afterthought heel. So for example, let me take this off so it'll be easier to see. Hang on. For example, if you take your sock and make a little cut, you pick up first. If you went through, marked the beginning of a round, picked up all of the stitches with your needle, okay, then picked up above, so you're going to leave one row plain, picked up above it, put those stitches on your needle, you'll have one row in the middle. If you snip that and unpick all of those stitches, you will now have two pieces.
Right.
Okay, you can pull out, try the sock on, pull out the number of rounds that you need, and then graft it all back together.
Yeah.
I like grafting, and the term Kitchener is not really used anymore. It's so interesting. I just finished reading a book called The Canary Girls, and Kitchener, Officer Kitchener or General, whatever his name was mentioned in the book, and he was not he did some shady things supposedly, so we don't refer to the Kitchener stitch anymore. If anyone wants a little knitting gossip, that's why that's not used. We just say grafting now.
Mm,
And so you can just, if you don't mind grafting, that's an easy solution. Okay.
yeah. Problem is there's a pattern on the top of the sock. That'll be fun.
Oh.
It'll be fun. It's inside a shoe. Who cares?
Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. It is inside of a shoe. But I mean, if it's physically uncomfortable, you can play with it.
No, I meant there's a stitch pattern on the top of the foot.
Oh.
So in
Right.
grafting, it'd be just a little fun to kind of get that. But it's in a shoe. If I mess it up, it's only my toes will know.
Exactly. And let's say, so for example, let's say that the pattern on the top of the foot is a 4-round repeat. If you can read the knitting carefully and you see where the fourth round of a repeat finishes, you can then rip out maybe 4 rounds of the next repeat or 8 rounds of the next repeat and then match it back up.
Right.
It's precision. It's definitely precision, and it can be headachy because, again, your stitches are so small, but it's definitely, the option is there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I
Mhm.
was trying to figure it out because they are toe up. I prefer toe
Right.
up. And I put them on inside boots and the heel was like on the back of my calf.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Mm.
Definitely
Yeah,
too.
I think,
I
yeah,
thought they'd shrink.
yeah, they do. They do. But with shrinking, sometimes they don't always shrink evenly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. So they
Yeah,
may
they weren't
shrink a
all
little
wool.
odd.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. You're
Mm.
welcome. Any tips on weaving in strands on the inside of your sock? Yes, I've got,
Mhm.
yes, of course. So
We had a big discussion about that last week, was weaving in.
So I don't weave wait, I'm trying to find a stripy pair where I did the striping myself. Oh wait, are they here? They're here, they're here, they're here. Hold on just a moment. As my friend says, hold please. Okay. Yes, okay, great. This is perfect. So I'm turning this sock inside out. What I do is, and this is also in the book, I knit my ends in as I go. I don't weave them all in at the end because it would never happen. And with this, so this sock looks like this. And
Mhm.
really want to weave all those in? I don't. So I just knit them in as I go. So what I do is I'm knitting them in about
Mhm.
5 to 6. Oh, wait, I need to go this way. About 5 or 6 stitches in either direction, and then
Mhm.
just snip the ends all off.
We were talking about that. It kind of like with the weave and Steven, like Steven West has a video that's kind of like
Hmm.
that, where it's just like you're kind of carrying that tail behind for a number of stitches, and then
Right.
it makes it so easy.
Yeah, that's another. I haven't done his technique, but I know of it.
Mhm.
Whatever works, but knitting the stitches in or weaving them in as you are knitting saves a lot of time. Definitely saves time.
Awesome.
And I don't know if with the what it weaving Stephen,
Weave and Steven.
weaving Stephen, does he show how to avoid the jog when you're
I
changing
don't,
color?
I'm wondering if I'm not, we didn't talk about that last week, no, but I'm definitely aware that there's other folks that definitely get into the jog list. And you have that in here too, the jog list
Yes.
striping. Yep.
Yes. How to do it jog. So you can weave your ends in and avoid the jog all at the same time.
Oof,
Okay.
amazing.
Yep. So I can try to, Pat. Pat is asking, can I explain how to weave, how to knit them in? It's harder to explain. It's easier to see. I do have it on my YouTube channel if you'd like to see it. Uh,
I will link to it when we have the recording, Pat. I'll look it up and find that for us.
sure, sure. But let me see if I can show you. Actually, I'm almost, all right. Let me see if give me a moment to knit this over to that spot. I'm just this sock and I'll show you how to weave it in. I just have to get to the other side. So let me answer another question while I'm knitting. Can we talk about yarn? Yeah, all day long if you like. What, do you have a specific question?
I was just, I know typically we use sock yarn because it has nylon added. And I like the fingering weight. I know some people use DK, some people use worsted. There's different patterns. I've not tried any of the heavier yarns yet. I prefer the fingering weight, but I was just wondering what your thoughts are on the different kinds of yarn.
So any yarn can be a sock yarn. Um, you can do, if you want to knit worsted weight socks, if you want to do sport or DK or anything like that, they can all be used. Fingering weight, I prefer fingering weight yarn for my socks as well. I know that DK goes very quickly, but those for me are more for boots.
Yeah.
I'll wear those like with winter boots as opposed to like a normally snug fitting shoe. That's a little too bulky for me. But that said, I don't always think you have to use a fingering weight yarn with nylon. You're not locked into that either. Why? Because nylon is a relatively new invention. I think it was the 60s. I think I even give a year in the book. It's a new invention. So prior to that, there were 100% wool socks. So one thing that was done are different stitches. You can use slip stitches, and slip stitches creates, which is what you'd sometimes use on the heel flap for
Yeah.
a sock. That reinforces, you're getting a double layer of fabric. Okay, so that reinforces and strengthens the heel. I've also seen people use slip stitches all along the sole of a sock.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not just locked into, see, again, more options. You're not just locked into using them on a heel flap. You can use them across the heel, or you can also use textured different patterns. A heel, where do I have that? Of course, I can't find one right this second. But if you can also, oh, here it is. Hang on.
Ooh, like the Eye of Partridge. I'm so excited to try that one.
Yeah, an Eye of Partridge is really beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful heel. And it just looks, so this is an Eye of Partridge heel. That's it.
I recognize it from the book.
Yes, yes. So that is an Eye of Partridge. There you go. You can
Nice.
see that pretty cool, pretty easily. And you're alternating. So usually it's knit one, then slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one, and then you just purl on the second round, but you're alternating that. And that's what gives the sort of honeycomb effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can also use a garter stitch heel. That's another
Mm-hmm.
option. And that's just a garter. This is a garter stitch afterthought. So I then grafted the stitches together right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why? Because I could. Did I follow a pattern? No. I just thought, okay, knitting for me is Everest. It's a lot safer. I don't need oxygen. I'm not going to break any bones or freeze. But the same reason people climb it, because it's there, because they can. I just want to see what can I do? What can I come up with? So continuing with the yarn question, there's a yarn called Rambler. This is 100%. This is by, it's the house yarn for the woolly thistle. And I hope that's okay to mention another yarn shop. I'm not trying to take anything
Yeah.
away.
Sure.
I'm only using
Yep.
it because it's 100% wool. I hope I'm not crossing
Totally fine.
breaking any rules.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the house yarn, and it is 100% wool. However, looking at the blend of wool is what's key. Okay. Merino sheep, they're very soft. Merino wool is a very soft wool. It's going to, no matter how tightly you knit it, and knitting super, super, super tight may just be hard on your hands. So trying to get it down really, really tight, it's a soft yarn, so it's going to wear out easier. All right. This particular blend it's an 80-10-10. So 80% of Dorset, 10% of Corriedale, and 10% of Romney. Those are just the yarn, the wool from those sheep is hardier. All right. It has a very long staple. It's meaning the strand, like the individual strand, if you are a spinner, is much longer. It also has what I like to call halo. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, right there. Can you see along this edge? God, I'm so terrible. Can you see along this edge that you can see the fibers?
Yep.
Yes.
You want those fibers, the fuzzier the yarn, the more it's going to grip itself. It's going to hold on to itself. So as you wear, instead of those stitches then starting to become threadbare and start to do this, so they're like this. They're going to start to do this over time with the pressure from your feet and from walking. 100% wool. And again, the coarser the wool, the more they're going to want to hold on to each other.
So it felts itself.
It kind of felts itself. Exactly. But it felts itself, not that accidental felting of dropping it in the dryer.
Right.
It's an accidental felting of more halo, more fibers. The fibers are all holding on to each other. So you may lose a little stitch definition, but the sock is going to wear better.
Right.
Okay. And it's usually at the back of, sorry, go on.
No, I
Oh
was
no,
just going to
well,
say, when I first started knitting socks, that's all the yarn I had was just the straight wool yarn. I didn't
Mhm.
have anything with nylon in it. Since then, I've learned to love the sock yarn. So I've knitted things with sock yarn. But
Right.
just wondered what your thought was on that.
Yeah, if it's beautiful and it's fingering weight, I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, I don't hold a reinforcing thread. Um, there is a book, The Book of Socks by Clara Parks. The Knitter's Book of Socks
Mhm.
has a really great pattern in it for that's the slip stitches on the sole. Okay, if you're
Okay.
doing the heel flap, you can also carry the slip stitches down into the heel turn.
Mhm.
Okay, that's another option. As I was showing before, if you've got which is in my Alacrity socks pattern, which is this. You've got this pattern here. And what I did here was I used garter stitch on the heel flap. Garter stitch is just squishier. It's thicker than regular stockinette. So again, this is reinforcing another reinforcement for the heel.
So instead of slip one, knit one, you just knit always.
I knit always, exactly.
Okay.
I knit on the knit side, I knit on the purl side.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. But now for here, I just decided, oh, would it look cute if
Mhm.
I just did a stockinette heel turn?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I just played with
Mhm.
it. So I have one with stockinette and one with garter stitch.
I may try that next time just for
Ex-
funsies.
Just for funsies,
Mhm.
exactly, because this is smoother and flatter under your heel
Mhm. Mhm.
as opposed to the garter stitch. I like the garter stitch. I like that little extra squish.
Yeah.
That may be nails on a chalkboard to some other people. They may not like that. All right. There's even something called a princess heel, where the purl stitches, the knit stitches are on the inside of the sock.
I've heard that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're on the
Got that down.
inside of the sole of the sock, and it's super, super smooth.
Hmm.
Because sometimes for people, I know, for example, my father is diabetic, so his feet are really sensitive. So those garter stitch bumps would be uncomfortable for him.
Mm.
So the smoother surface is just better for his feet. Okay.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. Colorwork blends. Wait, the chat's moving fast. Hang on. So Colorwork blends nicely with woolly wools. Yes, Colorwork does. So I just finished knitting a pair. The comment is Colorwork blends nicely with woolly wools, and that is 100% true
Mhm.
because again, the fibers lock into each other. So everything
Yep.
hugs. So the colors will bloom and look more almost like a picture as opposed to individual stitches. I just knit a pair of socks and I loved it was the most in-depth color work I've ever done on a sock. And I can't really talk about it yet because it's not mine, but it's for someone else. But anyway, so I sample knit for the person and they're stunning. She has 3 colors in the same row and oh my gosh, absolutely amazing. However, the yarn slipped. I felt like the
Mm.
yarn was just doing this next to each other all the time.
Mm.
So it
Mhm.
was a little hard to maintain the tension. I got it and I could do it, but I was slipping and sliding.
Mhm.
So factoring in if you want to do color work, factoring in the yarn that you're using is also important. Okay, and it doesn't mean that you have to use 100% wool, but some wools, even with nylon, opal, regia, those yarns are more workhorse yarn. They're coarser, which a lot of people, oh, it's too rough. I don't like that. Okay, if you don't like it, that's totally fine. But I'm willing for the aesthetic, I'm willing to deal with slightly scratchy, but it doesn't bother me. But that would be, I'm willing to sacrifice, so to speak. All makes sense.
To sacrifice.
I saw what you did there. I saw what you did there. So I'm totally willing to suck. Can I borrow that? That's so
Yeah.
great. I will credit you, of course. I'm willing to
Uh,
sacrifice. That's so cute. I love it. I love it.
well, I want to honor everybody's time. We're
Of
already
course.
at 6 o'clock. But it's amazing to just be here with you. And does anybody have like a burning question that they just have to ask
I can't
before
go to
we
bed
back?
tonight unless they ask. Fire away.
I did also add in the chat, we do have the Clara Parks book, and your Socktober discount is still good through the end of October. So you've got a couple more days to use that up.
Oh, you have the book. Great. That's wonderful.
We do.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Denise, thank you so much. If you want to get
No.
notified about when we have Denise's books back in stock, you can do that right on the back in stock notifications. But this has been so amazing to spend this hour with you, and people are giving some nice emojis, and really incredible to be with you here. And thank you for your time.
Thank
And thank you for
you.
your book.
Thank you for having me, for inviting me, for letting me wax on about knitting, because I could talk for another hour. There would be nobody here but me. Just keep going. So thank you very, very much for having me. This was wonderful. You were all so great. Thank you very, very much. Thanks for your questions, for everything. Thanks, everyone.
Yay! Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care,
Iris, do you want me
Denise.
to stay on for a minute after, or are we good?
Yeah, I think we could be good. This is
Okay,
great.
all right.
This has been awesome. All
Bye,
right.
everyone.
Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Denise.